I was just a night delivery guy. But that night, what fell from the sky wasn't a package, it was a warning from the universe. The hum of my electric bike echoed through the deserted streets of East Los Angeles. Midnight deliveries were my quiet routine. No small talk, no questions, just packages from point A to B. I liked it that way. The silence suited me. After the military, I had no appetite for noise. Then came the light. Not a street lamp flicker. Not lightning. This was different. A sharp, emerald streak cut across the sky, burning green into the clouds. It wasn't silent either. It howled. Then a crash, distant but bone deep. My bike jolted, tires skidding on pavement. I stopped. The sound came from the hills northeast, just past the industrial zone. I should have kept driving. I knew that. But something twisted in my gut. That old instinct I buried under deliveries and sleepless nights? It screamed. So I turned. The ride was quick. Too quick. I barely registered the broken fences, the shattered glass, the heat still rising from scorched asphalt. Whatever landed had clipped the top of an abandoned warehouse, ripping through metal like paper before crashing behind a wall of smoke and dust. I dropped the bike. Walked forward, heart pounding but steady. I knew how to move unseen, how to breathe like a ghost. Years of training don't leave you. Not really. And then I saw her. She was curled among twisted steel beams, half buried in dust and glowing fragments. Her skin shimmered with a pale turquoise hue, not paint, not makeup, it was her. She had long black hair matted with debris, and her eyes. I swear, her eyes had galaxies in them. Sharp, alert, terrified. She was bleeding light. Not metaphorically. Her veins pulsed faintly with a soft cyan glow. I raised my hands, slow, like approaching a wounded animal. She flinched, one arm lifting in defense, the other clutching her side. She tried to speak, but nothing came out. Then I heard it, in my head. Not a voice. More like a feeling wrapped in sound. Don't leave. I froze. Looked around. No speakers, no trick. Just her. Her lips never moved. But I knew it came from her. Direct. Raw. Into my mind. What are you? I whispered. She blinked. Tried to push herself up but failed. Her breathing was labored. Panicked. I stepped closer. My boots crunched broken glass. She flinched again. It's okay, I said quietly. I won't hurt you. A pause. Then another pulse of thought. They'll come. Not safe. Who? No answer. She was fading. Her body tensed, then slackened slightly, as if trying to stay conscious. The edges of her form shimmered faintly. I didn't know what she was. Alien? Government tech? A hallucination from too many nights alone? But her eyes. They weren't human. And they weren't hostile either. I knelt beside her. Reached out, slowly. She didn't resist when I touched her shoulder. Her skin was warm, too warm. Like metal under sun. She shivered. I slipped off my jacket and wrapped it around her. Another pulse. You're not like them. Others. You don't see me like they do. I couldn't explain why I didn't run. Every part of me knew this was insane. But something about her, not just her voice in my head, not just a glow, something quiet, broken, and deeply real, it anchored me. I scooped her up, gently. She was light. Too light. Bones like bird wings. She didn't fight. Just closed her eyes and whispered, through my mind. Hide me. The roads back were blur. I didn't stop. Didn't think. Just moved. Like on instinct. In my apartment, I laid her on the couch, pulled the curtains, checked the locks. She was breathing, barely. I grabbed water, bandages, whatever I had. She didn't react to the antiseptic. No wince, no hiss. But when I touched her again, her hand reached for mine. You see me? Yeah, I muttered. I see you. I should have called someone. Anyone. But I didn't. And deep down, I knew I wouldn't. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in a chair across from her, watching the way her skin dimmed and glowed with every breath. Something had fallen from the sky. And it wasn't a weapon. Or a ship. Or a curse. It was her. And she had chosen to fall into my hands. Whatever happened next, I already knew I wouldn't be the same. She slept for most of the morning. I sat nearby, barely moving, just watching the way her chest rose and fell. The glow beneath her skin had faded slightly but remained visible, like dim stars beneath ice. I hadn't turned on the lights. I didn't want her to wake up surrounded by anything harsh or artificial. Whatever world she came from, it probably wasn't kind. Around noon, she stirred. Her eyes opened slowly, scanning the room like a cornered animal. I moved carefully, offering her water. She didn't take it at first, just watched me. Then, slowly, she reached out. Our fingers brushed. There was a flicker, something like static, but warmer. Not pain. Recognition. She took the water and drank. Her hands trembled. You okay? I asked. She didn't answer out loud, but her eyes softened. The connection was weaker than last night. I could still feel her emotions bleeding into mine, but the words were less clear. Just flashes, confusion, exhaustion, something like fear but not of me. Then she turned her head sharply toward the window. The blinds were drawn, but she moved as if something had passed by outside. She stood up without warning and crossed the room. I reached out to stop her, but she turned and said, not with her voice, but with her mind, "It's fine. I can feel them." Feel who? She didn't respond. Instead, she touched the side of her wrist. A soft chirp sounded, and part of her skin shifted like fluid. A tiny disc, silver and translucent, emerged from beneath the skin. It lit up with a hum. Before I could stop her, a projection unfolded in midair. A three-dimensional star map floated above the floor, casting blue light on her face. Lines connected star systems in geometric patterns, but one system, ours, was flashing red. Next to it, a warning icon. Beneath it, alien script scrolled rapidly. I didn't understand a word of it. But I didn't need to. The meaning was clear enough. "Someone's looking for you," I said. She nodded. "Not someone," her voice finally whispered into my head. "Everyone." I stared at her. She looked back, guilt seeping into her eyes. That was when it really hit me. She wasn't just lost. She wasn't a crashed survivor. She was a fugitive. Outside, a siren chirped once. Not police. Something else. She flinched. I stood. "We need to leave." She hesitated. "You don't have to." "I know," I said. "But I'm doing it anyway." We grabbed what we could. My jacket, some cash, phone, water. She wouldn't touch the phone. Every time I handed it to her, she backed away like it was fire. "Electromagnetic fields," she explained through a flicker of thought. "They track devices. I can sense them." That was why she always moved away from the TV, the microwave, the phone charger. I had thought she was just disoriented. Turns out, she was being hunted by signals. As we slipped down the back stairwell, she stayed close behind me, always scanning. Her presence was unsettling, but not because of how she looked. It was the silence. The weight of her awareness. Like she was hearing a frequency I'd never know. Downtown LA was noisy, layered in neon signs and sky bridges, but we stuck to the alleys. I knew a few safe places, abandoned buildings I'd slept in when I had nowhere else to go. We made it halfway to the transit station before it happened. A glimmer. A soundless hiss. She stopped dead. "What is it?" I asked. She didn't speak. Just pulled me sideways into the shadows. Then I saw it, floating just above the street, a silver orb the size of a basketball. Sleek, smooth, no seams. It pulsed with a dull red light. "Recon drone?" she whispered inside my skull. "Not local." My heart spiked. "Can it see us?" "Not if we don't move." But it hovered closer. I grabbed her wrist, pulled her behind a rusted dumpster. The light grew stronger. A hum like a tuning fork vibrated through the air. I held my breath. She started shaking. Not from fear, more like something inside her was reacting. Her skin began to glow again, involuntarily. I turned to her, eyes wide. "No," I mouthed. "Not now." Her face twisted, struggling to contain it. I reached out, covered her hands with mine. Her glow dimmed slightly, but not enough. The drone drifted closer. Then her mouth opened slightly, a breath escaping. I saw the panic in her eyes before she could speak. I pressed my hand over her mouth. "Shut your mouth," I hissed. "If you make a sound, we're dead." We stayed like that for what felt like hours. The drone hovered, scanned. Then, without warning, it lifted, vanished over the rooftops. She slumped against the wall, her body trembling, skin fading back to normal. I pulled my hand away. She looked at me, not angry, not scared. Something else. Like she was seeing me for the first time. "You don't know what I am," she said in my head. "No," I admitted. "But I know what I saw." "What did you see?" "A girl who's terrified and running." A long silence passed. "Why, help me?" I didn't answer. I didn't have one. Not a real one. We waited a few more minutes, then took off again. This time, we stuck to the underground routes. Back alleys, service tunnels. She followed close, silent as a shadow. By the time the sun began to rise, we found an old train tunnel under the freeway. Cracked walls, stale air, abandoned cables. Safe for now. We slid down behind a rusted control box and sank to the ground. She curled her knees to her chest. I watched the morning light filter faintly through the cracks above. She finally looked at me and said one word. "Thanks." I gave a nod, heart still hammering. That morning, I wasn't just a guy hiding an alien anymore. I was part of her escape. The industrial zone had gone quiet. No city noise, no traffic, just the occasional metallic creak of the wind nudging rusted steel. We slipped into a half-collapsed warehouse, surrounded by twisted rebar and broken shipping crates. The air smelled of oil and time. It was the kind of place people forgot except for ghosts, rats, and fugitives. Elia leaned against a wall, clutching her side. Her skin flickered again with faint light, subtle, but dangerous. I pulled her deeper inside, past a collapsed stairwell and behind a bent storage tank. We knelt behind a sheet of corroded metal that curved like a half-pipe, just big enough to shield us. I checked my surroundings. No sign of drones. No infrared shimmer. Still, she was sweating hard, her breath uneven. "What's happening?" I whispered. Her voice crackled into my mind like static. "The signal. It's closer. It burns when it sinks. My body, it's tuned to their frequency. Hybrid code." She was shaking now. Not from cold, her skin radiated heat like she was overheating from the inside out. Her eyes blinked rapidly. She bit her lip, trying to stay silent, but pain was leaking out of her in waves. A low thrum began to pulse through the air. Not audible. Felt. Her back arched slightly. A strangled sound caught in her throat. She opened her mouth. I moved fast, reflex taking over. I slid in close, my arm wrapping around her shoulders, my hand pressing gently but firmly over her lips. She gasped beneath it, eyes wide, but I was already leaning in close, forward nearly touching hers. "Shut your mouth," I whispered, my voice barely air. "If you scream, they'll find us. If they find us, we die. Both of us." Her body tensed under my grip. Her hands clenched my arms, nails digging into my jacket, but she didn't fight. She just stared at me. Her pupils dilated, glowing faintly. Her breath was hot against my palm. I could feel her entire body pulsing, not just from fear but from whatever lived inside her. Light moved beneath her skin, like veins of starlight. But under all of it was something raw. Fragile. She wasn't just a fugitive. She was falling apart. The thrum intensified. Outside, through the rusted slats, I saw a faint red beam sweep the far end of the warehouse. Then another. The drone was close. Just meters away. I didn't move. Neither did she. Her chest heaved once, twice. My hand still over her mouth, her eyes now shimmering with tears she hadn't meant to shed. Then, slowly, the pulse faded. The drone's beams disappeared into the mist. Silence returned. I held still for another 10 seconds, maybe 20. Then I let go. She exhaled shakily. Her head dropped against my shoulder. "I'm sorry," she said in my mind. "It hurts more when they're near." "I get it," I murmured. "You did good." Her voice was quieter this time, not as sharp. "You touched me like I wasn't dangerous." "I didn't think," I replied. "You did." I didn't answer. We sat in silence. My hand was still on her shoulder. Her head rested lightly near my neck. For a moment, the cold warehouse didn't feel so cold. "I used to be someone important," she said suddenly. "Before I ran." "Are you still?" She didn't reply. Her hand moved, fingertips brushing my wrist. She wasn't glowing anymore. Just human looking, mostly. But her touch was light, unsure, like no one had touched her gently in years. "I've never heard anyone's thoughts before," I said, trying to shift the weight. "It's forbidden. My kind, we don't connect like this. Emotions disrupt precision. Guess I'm messing with your settings, then." That earned a flicker of a smile. Brief. Faint. But there. We stayed behind that wall for what felt like hours. She shifted eventually, curling her knees up. I sat close, watching the shadows outside crawl with slow-moving light. Drones still patrolled. We had to stay until nightfall. The silence between us changed. It wasn't tense anymore. It was charged. Like something alive had begun breathing between us. She rested her head back against the cold metal, eyes half closed. "You don't look at me like I'm a mistake," she whispered. "I don't think you are. But I was made to be one." "No," I said. "You were made to be hunted." "That's not the same." Her eyes opened, staring at the roof. "My creators built me to bridge two civilizations. Instead, I broke both. I don't belong to either side. Maybe that means you get to choose your own." Her gaze slid to me again. Searching. Measuring. "And you?" she asked. "Why are you still helping me?" I thought for a moment. "Because when I look at you, I don't see a threat. I see someone who landed in the wrong world. And I've felt that way too." She reached up slowly, touched the side of my face. Her fingers trembled. You're the first human I've ever touched without being ordered to. My breath caught. Outside, another drone passed, but we didn't flinch this time. We were silent. Together. And for the first time since she fell, I realized something. She wasn't just running. She was breaking. And maybe, just maybe, I could hold the pieces long enough for her to survive. If we survived the night. The morning after felt fragile, like the silence before a storm. We moved before the sun rose fully, sticking to the back alleys, darting between shadows like rats that had learned the rhythm of the city. There was no more pretending we were invisible. We knew now they were watching. Closer. Always closer. We hid inside a long-forgotten subway tunnel beneath the old downtown core. There, between cracked tile walls and rusted steel beams, Elia finally told me. My code wasn't just built to hide, she said, sitting cross-legged on the concrete floor, her voice threading directly into my thoughts. It was designed to override the central AI. If I get close enough to an uplink, I can shut it down. Central AI, I repeated. As in the thing running the entire Galactic Alliance. She nodded. Her hands trembled slightly in her lap. It controls enforcement, surveillance, even decisions of planetary value. If I trigger the override, it won't just stop the pursuit. It will destabilize their hierarchy. A reset. That's good, I said carefully. So we just find an uplink station, get you close, and I won't survive it. The words landed like a blade. I didn't say anything. Not at first. She kept speaking. The data stored in me wasn't meant to be accessed. I'm not just the key. I'm the lock, too. Once I open the system, the feedback will burn through me. She said it with clarity, like someone who'd already rehearsed her death 100 times in her mind. I turned away. My throat closed up. Somewhere in the back of my skull, I could still feel the hum of drones overhead, the weight of sleepless nights, the ache in my ribs from that last fight, but nothing hurt like this. Where's the uplink? I asked. There's one left on Earth. Not public. It's buried under the Mojave Desert, an abandoned relay built before Earth lost its clearance. And we can get there? She looked at me. Not with hope. With certainty. Yes. If we leave now. So we did. The journey was long. Roads half dead. Skies always watching. But the desert was silence. Dust and heat and time. We stole a truck. Switched plates twice. I don't remember much of the drive. I just remember the way she looked out the window. Like she was memorizing every cloud, every shadow. Sometimes she spoke to me in thoughts. Sometimes aloud. Sometimes not at all. But I could feel her. Her presence was no longer alien. It was constant, like the sun through tinted glass. At night, we camped inside the shell of an old gas station buried in sand. She sat beside me, close but never quite touching. Her glow faded with each mile. I knew it. So did she. Back when I was a soldier, I told her quietly, we used to joke that the worst thing wasn't dying. It was dying alone. She looked at me, her eyes reflecting the stars. Then you won't? Her hand brushed mine. By the time we reached the uplink, the sky was burning orange. The facility was hidden beneath a fake rock ridge, camouflaged but not abandoned. We had to fight our way past one patrol unit, just one. But it nearly cost me my life. She shielded me. Took a blow meant for my chest. The skin along her ribs cracked with energy. Still alive. I whispered, half collapsed on the floor of the control room. She nodded, teeth clenched. For now. Inside the uplink chamber, she moved with purpose. Her fingers danced across interfaces built for hands not quite like hers. She was part of the system already. The walls responded. Lights shifted. This is it, she said. I stood behind her, every muscle screaming. You don't have to do this. She turned. And for the first time, I saw tears, not from pain. From peace. I do. But I'm glad it's you who brought me here. I took her hand. It was trembling. I wish I had more time, I said. You gave me enough to feel real. She leaned in. I met her halfway. Our lips met in the glow of dying circuits, under a sky that would never know her name. Her skin burned cold. She pulled away slowly. Step back, she said softly. I did. She placed her hand against the core. Light erupted around her. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just closed her eyes and let it happen. Data surged. Waves of it. The facility shook. Systems blinked. Above us, satellites rerouted. Drones dropped from the sky. And she stood there, bright as a supernova. Until she fell. Into my arms. Breathing. Barely. Her voice, one last time in my mind. I chose this. The sky outside turned quiet. The galaxy did not end. But maybe, just maybe, it started over. The moment the central AI collapsed, it was as if the galaxy held its breath. Systems across hundreds of worlds flickered. Surveillance ceased. Orders looped endlessly without guidance. For the first time in decades, silence echoed through the vast machine of the Galactic Alliance. But in the uplink chamber, it was anything but silent. Ilya collapsed into my arms, her body smoking at the edges, skin pale blue-green and flickering like a dying signal. Her breathing was ragged, faint, but present. Ilya, I whispered, cradling her head against my chest. Her eyes fluttered open for a moment. No words came, just a weak pulse in my mind. I'm still here. And then she passed out. I didn't have time to mourn or wonder. The system was in chaos, but chaos doesn't last long. Someone, somewhere, would re-establish order. And if they found us here, they'd kill her, or worse, take her back. I carried her through fire-scorched halls, through sand, and sun and static. My leg bled from the earlier fight, shrapnel lodged deep. Every step was a war. But I moved like a machine with one mission. Get her out. Above the ridge, I spotted it, an emergency evac beacon. Old tech, probably forgotten. But it still blinked. I activated it, tuned the signal to a dead frequency, and waited. Minutes passed. A ship came. Not from the Alliance but something older. Something that hadn't responded to galactic channels in years. I didn't care. I waved it down. The pilot didn't ask questions. Saw my eyes. Saw her glowing. He let us in. The medbay was basic, but it stabilized her. For hours, she didn't move. I sat at her side, hand over hers, whispering things I couldn't say out loud. That I needed her. That I was afraid. That I wasn't ready to be left behind again. When she finally stirred, she turned her face to me. Her lips parted. You stayed. I didn't come this far to lose you now. She smiled faintly. Her voice brushed my thoughts like warm wind. I could go back. My body synced. A fail-safe activated. They'll let me return. Clean slate. I stared at her. Then go. Be safe. You did enough. But I'd lose you? Her eyes searched mine. There was no hesitation. They'll hunt me for choosing this. But I've never chosen anything for myself. Until now. She sat up slowly, the glow returning to her skin in soft pulses. Her voice steadied. Let's disappear. We did. Weeks passed. Then months. We moved through old pathways, ships no longer on records. No names. No scans. We found a cabin tucked deep in the Colorado mountains, a place without signal, without memory. Just sky. And stars. The world never knew what happened. Earth was quietly removed from the purge list. The Alliance fractured, but slowly, like glass cooling too fast. Some said it was a glitch. Others, sabotage. No one traced it back to us. And they never would. Each night, we sat on the porch, wrapped in blankets, watching stars blink through pine branches. Elia's glow dimmed now, only surfacing when she touched me. When she laughed. One evening, snow lightly falling, she curled into my side and whispered. They built me to be the edge between worlds. But you. She looked at me. You were the reason I didn't fall. I kissed her forehead, felt the warmth pulse through both of us. And I realized something. She wasn't a weapon. She wasn't a threat. She wasn't a message sent across galaxies. She was a choice. And she chose me. Not because she had to. But because she wanted to. She wasn't from Earth. But now. She didn't belong anywhere else.